Hello everyone, this is just a short intro to let you know that this is an excerpt from our podcast, The Weekly Planet, covering the most controversial moments in comic books. I mention this because there are going to be some things that aren't mentioned here that are in the extended version, which is linked below. Podcast comes out every Monday morning. So yeah, enjoy or don't enjoy. Do what you want, but leave a like. But you don't have to, but do it. That leads us into our topic this week. It's actually a Patreon topic. I threw it out there. I was be like, what do you guys want? Got a lot of really great suggestions, 100 plus. But the one I think we're going with this week, this is from Taz, and she says, most controversial comic book moments. The example given here is Batman Dong Edition and Hydra Cap. Those are the kind of examples that are thrown out there, but kind of going through a list and Googling it and things that I remember and about being a big deal. I think this is really interesting.
Should we start with Batman's Dong?
Yes, I've written here, let's start with Batman's Dong. I actually wrote that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's in my
notes. That's pretty cool.
So, for those people who don't know, there was a recent it's called DC After Dark, nude stuff. Yeah, what's it called again?
It's called Black Edition? Wait. Yeah, DC Black Label.
Yeah, so there you go. So essentially, it's for grown-ups.
Absolutely.
It's for people who want to see dongs in comics.
This ain't your grandpappy's DC comics,
no, it's
I
not.
tell you what.
And it's certainly not your grandpa's dong either. This is a new and fresh dong.
Fresh dong.
Fresh off the press.
Yep.
And it's mostly just silhouetted, but you see a naked Bruce Wayne and you see his dong, don't you?
Yep.
And there was such controversy.
Why though? I'm gonna look.
I think it's because it's Batman. Because I think we mentioned
that doesn't mean anything.
No, because it's like a children's character essentially.
Right.
Not all of it, obviously. It's for
not his dick.
No,
that's not for children.
No, but as I mentioned at the time, you get comics like Sex Criminals and whatever, where it's Dong City in there. You know what I mean?
Right.
But these are not. These are seen by a lot of people as they're not for.
Okay,
adults.
this is Brian Azzarello,
which is not true,
about
obviously.
This. DC set up this imprint, take our characters, do something mature. When that opportunity was given to us, we decided let's not half-ass this. Let's go all the way. We'll either go down in a blaze of glory or we hit the ball. Of his dong.
Let's not half-ass
but
this. Let's go full dong.
But mature doesn't mean necessarily. That doesn't help.
I don't go straight away. Well, let's see his dick then. Come on, if you're doing something mature. Come on, let's see it.
It's the suits. What are you doing, you cowards?
I don't think it's a big deal. That's an odd quote, though, to be like...
Yeah, right?
But I guess, I don't think it really adds anything to the comic. Or takes away from it. I don't think it changes anything.
Well, here's the thing, though. I don't know anything about that storyline besides that.
I did read it, but I don't
That's unfortunate.
remember it.
Uh-huh.
Did I read the Dong edition? I think, because I read mostly digital comics, so it'll be updated by now.
For sure. So you're going to have to get the laptop with that version on it, switch all the Wi-Fi's off, put it in a safe or something.
Well, you have to choose to update your comics, I never will. I want to. Oh, you know what? I've probably deleted it because I wipe stuff off my phone if I've for space.
Well,
so
there's no way to see it then.
How am I going to see Batman's Dong?
Yeah.
How am I going to do it? But basically. So as we mentioned, they redid it.
Yeah.
Redong it, and now you can't see the dong. So
Batman enlists the help of the foul-mouthed magician John Constantine. Is that the one?
Yes, it's a Constantine narrated story. That's right.
Okay.
Yep. It's 3 issues, maybe.
Batman, your torture's hanging out. That's what he said.
It ends abruptly from memory.
Okay.
But I don't remember disliking it.
There you go.
The dong, that is.
Right, sure.
I was okay with it, yeah. Do you want to then skip over to the New 52?
Okay, sure.
What are your thoughts on New 52? First of all, do you want to explain what it is for those who might not know?
I'm trying to remember what the New 52 was.
They just rebooted everything.
I know, exactly. Well, what happened is, it used to be like every 20 years, but then it became every 15 years, every 10 years, every 5 years.
Yeah.
DC reboots their entire continuity. It's almost always in story.
Yes.
So like a big city, galaxy destroying thing shows up and it's going to erase all of reality and the heroes race to stop it and then they do it. But then ultimately...
But at what cost?
Well, all of reality has changed, whatever.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the springboard was for the New 52.
But basically
was it Flashpoint?
Was that before or after?
I don't know.
Because I was going to say Flashpoint.
Following the conclusion of the Flashpoint
It was.
crossover.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay.
I couldn't remember whether that was...
All right.
Was the start of reboot.
Yeah, right.
Not whether it was the start of New 52. You're right.
This is the problem.
Yeah.
And this is why this sort of stuff is controversial because they never let anything breathe.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that, but it's like 10 years.
Well, it is now, isn't it?
Yeah. It's 10, yeah, right. But this one, so essentially the Flashpoint storyline was that the Flash, who at his fastest can travel through time, is like, I'm going to go back in time and stop the death of my mother.
Yep. There's a movie you can watch as well.
Yeah, and there's also the storyline was basically covered in the Flash TV series as well.
Yes.
So he goes back in time to stop his mother being killed, and I believe the culprit is the Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
She was killed under mysterious circumstances, and in doing so, he alters the timeline. So all of reality has changed, and
in the future, Wonder Woman is fighting Aquaman. Their armies are battling, and
and
he gets a note from, and that's where Batman's evil dad comes from, and his mum's the Joker.
Exactly. Yeah.
And but there is a nice moment where I think it's a good comic.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently it still might be happening in the new Flash movie, but it seems kind of unearned to be like, we're doing Flashpoint straight out of the gate. That being said, it would justify all the changes that have been made to the DC movie universe.
What's interesting about the New 52 is they got Wonder Woman. Speaking of Wonder Woman, they got Wonder Woman's origin and they changed it so it was more accurate to the Greek myths. So it was like if a boy is born on the Amazonian island of Themyscira, they kill it.
Yes,
and they
told her she was clay.
Yeah, she was the daughter of Zeus.
Yeah,
and in order to have more children on Themyscira, they lure sailors and then they like kill them.
Yeah,
throw them overboard.
Cool.
So that's fun, right? They Amazons get pregnant by sleeping with human sailors who they then murder and dump at sea. So that's
classic.
It's fun, yeah, right?
Yeah. So I mean, it's a bit of a double standard, isn't it, Mason? Obviously,
very much so. Yeah. It's PC gone mad.
Yeah.
Well, the problem also with the New 52 is it was operating on some sort of weird timeline where not all the books were operating in the same time period. So over in the Justice League comic book, Superman was like a fully realized Superman. He even had his new high-tech suit with no underpants. But in Superman's own book, he was just this dude
T-shirt and
rocking
jeans?
Around T-shirt and jeans.
Was
with
that
like
in the future, maybe?
No, that was the past. And when he had his...
I don't know if it was because that Superman...
See, that's the problem.
No, maybe I'm thinking of the movie, but that's because when he's introduced to the Justice League, they all try to beat him up.
Right.
So is that T-shirt stuff must be long after then, right?
I think it's before.
Anyway, he's dead.
Oh, that version of Superman is in fact
dead.
Died. He's literally dead. He wasn't just erased from continuity. They killed him and then replaced him with the prior version of Superman, yeah.
I didn't like that version anyway.
Right.
I thought he was...
Was the New 52
also
the version that Batman had disappeared and he was replaced with Jim Gordon as Batman?
That happened in that, yeah.
And he was wearing a mech suit?
See, that's the thing though, because I think there's some good stories within it. I just don't know or care how it all comes together.
And I don't know where they were placed. I don't know if that was the future, was that the past?
And I'm sure people could send us a spreadsheet, but I don't want it.
Right? It doesn't matter anymore because 5G is coming or whatever.
Yeah.
Are we still in the New 52?
No, we're in the rebirth. Or
we are in the
we're
rebirth
out of it now or whatever.
Oh my God. This is the problem.
I don't really have a problem with this because comics always change.
Yeah, no, for
and
sure.
they're bad and they're good and they're whatever.
That's probably true,
and the thing that always has mattered to me is good story arcs.
I guess that's probably
true. I don't care about continuity. I don't give a shit.
But I think you're probably right. You know, one of the issues I had with one of these reboots is that the Robin my favorite Robin was Tim Drake.
Sounds like a 60s sitcom.
Right, my favorite Robin. I'm living with too many Robins.
But this one's my favorite.
Right. But one of them was taken out of continuity. They were like, no, he was never Robin.
Red Robin?
And he became Red Robin.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, what's the point of that? It doesn't.
Why do it? Yeah.
Why do it? I mean, it doesn't. Just let's just say. What I mean, did they have a maximum number of quotas? Did Bill Finger one day or Bob Kane be like, there can only ever be 5 Robins in continuity at any given time?
Well, I don't think
one in, one out. That's my rule for Robins.
If it was Bill Finger, nobody would have listened to him. So I don't think it was Bill Finger.
Wouldn't have been Bill Finger. Exactly.
No, I don't understand that. Yeah. But again, you can read that first New 52 Aquaman run, the Wonder Woman one, the Batman.
The Aquaman one was very good, if I recall.
Yes, if you read that entire Scott Snyder run, and even because he just finished it with, he's carrying Joker's head around a lantern recently.
Yeah.
But
also they had to do 52 new books, right?
But they didn't though, did they? Because that was the idea, but I don't think they got to them. And they made Lobo trim and sexy.
Yeah, that's how he started. Lobo began his life trim and sexy, and then he got bigger and more of a caricature.
In the 90s, I assume.
As the character got more fan servicey.
Yeah, right.
Let's make him bigger and weirder.
Yeah.
And I think what happened as well, I'm sure that he got certain artists who drew everybody in a kind of caricature-y way.
Yeah, right.
And then people were like, I like that style. Let's have everybody do it. And then kind of,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's fun, isn't it?
It's very fun.
Should we get off this one thing that we're stuck on?
The New 52. No, let's maroon ourselves in the New 52.
I've got so many more things.
Okay, carry on then.
So Hydra Cap is a newer thing, which was quite controversial, I feel. No, it was said it was, but it's not, I don't think. I think it's just I mean, if you've read the story, and I guess I'll spoil at the end, he's not that at the the end.
Okay, maybe explain the start.
Okay,
first,
so
though.
essentially, it's like Captain America's back. He's back from the dead. And
America's greatest
whatever.
hero.
He's and everyone's super excited. But it turns out because of fucking around with the cosmic cube, multiple villains, mostly led by Red Skull, I believe. I have read it. I can't really remember.
Have you?
Yes. They go back in time and they mess with his past, so he's got loyalty to Hydra.
Yeah, right.
And so he's essentially Captain Hydra, and he ends up running kind of the world as the president.
And as often happens with any kind of character change or comic book related thing, is that this idea goes out into the mainstream. This was during the MCU, right?
Yeah, it's like 4 years ago, maybe.
So basically what happens is this articles start being written in the mainstream media and people are like, they've made him evil. Well, this is what? How would you? You can't make him. And then Marvel's like, yeah,
2017,
and he's
Secret Hydra,
he's
Secret
definitely
Empire.
going. He's definitely Marvel's like, he's definitely going to stay evil forever. We've made him evil forever.
This is we've done this for a reason.
And it's real. We've made him real evil forever. And then the mainstream media's like, oh my god, they've ruined an icon. And then a couple of years later, he's just regular Captain America.
I don't even know if it was that long, but yeah, he was really in there the whole time, and the spirit of Bucky and something summoned him out. I can't remember. I have read it. It's good from memory. I just haven't read it today, which is why I don't remember it.
Oh well, you should have read it today.
Because again, anything from like the past 4 or 5 years when my son was born, I just have my memories just like I don't know.
I'm the same.
So it's not just a kid thing.
I think it's your son is projecting some sort of wave from his brain and it's erasing our
He does have
memories.
that laser.
It's probably the laser to the brain that'll do it. Yeah.
So I don't know, Cap Hydra. Here we go. Here's
But this doesn't this just prove the absolute, just the, what's the word I'm looking for?
the gall,
The
the
absolute-
audacity.
The sheer audacity. No, more the I'll think of the word later.
Okay. What in conjunction to what though?
Just the idea that like all this stuff is so, the comic book stuff is just, it just comes and goes.
Yeah,
and you don't really,
all of this is that.
Yeah.
Though I think some of this stuff has had impacts to this day though for the worse.
Yeah, right.
What about this one though? Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, they're siblings, but also they were maybe having sex or something. That was the thing. Remember that?
This was an Ultimate Comics. This was again. This is a new sexy reboot. A lot of this stuff.
That's what people want.
Yeah,
in a new sexy reboot.
That's right. A lot of this stuff seems to be people going. It's a lot of stunts, really.
Yeah.
But this was the Ultimate Universe, which was operating in parallel with the regular Marvel universe, and it was like, well, what if we don't want people to have to open up an X-Men comic book and there's a million years of continuity with this, and I don't know why does that character hate this character, and what's this relationship between these two characters, whatever. They're like, let's start it all again. Let's have some modern day origins. Let's free it of all the continuity.
Yes.
And let's have Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, their brother and sister, but
Sex stuff.
it's weird.
Yeah. I haven't read any of it. I just
Okay.
know it's a big deal. And it's gone now, I think.
The Ultimate Universe, it is gone, yes.
Some of it survived.
Miles Morales did.
Well, you had the same problem with this as like I said with the New 52, where they did all the history really quickly.
They had to rush it all in.
Like
Somebody's
40
like,
years of history.
well, this universe doesn't have a Venom yet.
Yeah.
What if I invent the Venom for this universe? Bad. Fine.
In a jar.
It was in
From
a jar. Yeah, it was in a jar.
Jar of Vegemite gone bad, left in the sun.
That's
That's
right.
what happens.
Yeah.
That's
His catchphrase was "G'day, mates."
yes. This next thing I think is
I'm full of vitamin B.
is the and teeth.
Yep.
The this thing I think is the catalyst.
Oh, yes.
It's not the first kind of stunt, but it's kind of responsible for modern comic book day stunts.
Oh.
Do you know what I'm talking
Is it
about?
the Killing Joke?
I was going to say Death of Superman.
Oh yeah. Okay. Right.
Because it was like, that was the real, like, Superman's dead and he's never coming back.
Yeah. And people are like, what are we?
It was on the front of the newspaper,
What is
like
this?
real
Yeah,
newspapers.
but it's an icon. What are
Yeah.
they gonna?
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, he wasn't dead.
No, couple of years? Can't remember.
A couple of years. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a really strange story if you've read it now, because there's a lot of stuff in there. I've mentioned this before, but it's just like, what is any of this?
Right.
It's so steeped in continuity.
From back then.
Like,
yeah,
who
exactly.
are all these?
Supergirl's not really Supergirl. She's like an alien blob who can
Yeah.
shapeshift into Supergirl. Yeah.
Who's also dating Lex Luthor?
Yep.
Who's the clone of Lex Luthor, because he's Lex Luthor's. It was his son, not really his son, but he pretended he was son,
Yeah,
and his hair continually grows.
So so Lex Luthor.
Don't read it.
Don't read it. No.
Oh, you can skip
But
all that.
Lex Luthor got cancer because he was always wearing a kryptonite ring.
Cool, bro.
And then he got another body cloned, and then he got it cloned in Australia, and I guess it's cheaper.
Vegemite.
Yeah, Vegemite.
G'day, mate.
And
It's
then he had his brain transplanted into this clone, and then he claimed to be his own son.
Got this new bod.
And then he started dating Supergirl.
That I can
It
boogie
was a
bod
blob.
with. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm dating this blob.
Yeah, it was
Mate.
called The Bod and His Blob. That's what the comic book was called.
And
They
his-
didn't make a comic book about anything
Yeah.
back then.
And his hair continually grew all the time.
And it was red.
Yeah. Well, that's what he is red, isn't he? He's always been red.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah. And also in very early stories, this is unrelated, but one of the reasons that Lex Luthor hates Superman is because Superman made him go bald.
That's correct, yes.
Failed experiment,
Yep.
which was also actually Lex Luthor's fault.
It was 100% Lex Luthor's
Yeah.
fault, but there was a fire. He started an experiment. There was a fire, and then Superman came in and was like, "I'll blow out this fire," and he did his super breath.
the vapors.
The vapors got in all of Luthor's follicles, and all his hair fell out.
He was like, curse you, Superman.
He blew some super nair on his face. On his
That's
scalp.
right. Mate, he made a big deal of it at the time, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, I think, set up a lot of the stunts, including like Batman getting his back broken.
And 100% it established the playbook of like, we're changing continuity forever.
Yeah.
This is never coming back.
I like a lot of the ideas behind that story. I really like the idea of the 4 Superman turning up and which one's the real one. Spoiler alert, none of them. But is it 4? It was 4, wasn't it?
It's 4, yeah.
And I would have really liked to have seen something done with that in live action when they killed Superman. To be like,
Yeah,
not just
right.
go, well, we zapped him with a box and now he's
Yeah.
back. What's the fallout from that?
You
Aside
want-
from people going, we're sad because Superman's dead,
Well, speaking
maybe?
of Fallout, you want a cyborg Superman, also played by Henry Cavill, but he's got a metal mustache.
Oh my God, Mason!
Right?
The dream!
Yes.
Do you want? I mean, Batman broke his back, which I
He
feel
didn't break his own back.
He did. He picked himself up and broke himself over his own
Wow.
knee.
Of one of his luxurious banisters. Because that's what the rich people do. They're so bored. They've got nothing to
They
do.
don't even
They're
care,
like, oh
mate.
my God. I just want to feel something.
The idea behind this, though, was also because people wanted Batman to be more edgy and cool and real. And wasn't it DC wanted that also? So they went, well, let's do the edgy, real Batman and show you how dumb it is.
I think some creators in the Batman creator camp were like, yeah, let's if that's what you want, we'll do it. We'll go too far, and then everybody will be begging us to bring it back to the status quo. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah.
But that's what they've said in the past. Yeah.
And were people begging for him to come back at that point?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really remember. It's a big deal at the time.
Probably a documentary on it.
No doubt.
They'll just make it out of this, probably.
Yeah, this will just use this. We don't mind.
Just
I mean,
add dramatic
us,
music.
us, pay us.
Add some reverb and some dramatic music, and then
And you can do this, and then things were changed forever.
Bruce Wayne was flying high, and it all came crashing down onto a banister. He did it himself. I mean, that was there's been some echoes of that in other Batman stuff. So like in The Dark Knight Rises, of course, Bane was the instigator of that.
Even I guess was Kingdom Come after this? Because he's got this neck brace in that, but that could just be genuine wear
I
and
think
tear.
Kingdom
I
Come
assume.
was after this.
Yeah, but I figured that's just because he's
Just
been
general
doing
wear
that
and
shit
tear.
anyway.
Being Batman for
Being Batman
decades,
for
probably.
whatever.
Yeah.
How did he come back? Was it mostly just
That was
exercises?
magic. It turned out well.
Was it Lazarus stuff? Did he put a rope around? Did he loop a rope under his arms and then a guy kicked him in the back?
No,
Like in the Dark Knight
it
Rises?
turned out that one of his like doctors / love interests also had like psychic healing powers,
Oh yeah,
which was kind of like it was kind of a lame cop out.
like
thing.
just Lazarus Pit. Does it
Right.
do that though?
No, he doesn't Lazarus Pit. No.
Let's talk about One More Day.
Okay. The Spider-Man story.
Yeah, so the devil or Mephisto or a version of the devil, who's to say, makes
I can say definitively he's not the devil.
No.
but he tricks people into thinking he is.
because of his big horns.
Yeah, big horns. Yeah.
Yeah. I can see how people get
And
confused.
his sort of pinkish face.
Pinkish.
Pinkish.
See, that's when I know that it wasn't.
Right.
He wasn't on the level.
Yeah.
So basically, Spider-Man and Mary Jane are forced to make a deal to erase their history together, and they're no longer married.
to save the life of Aunt May.
It's not a bad
Very
comic.
noble. Yeah.
But of course, the controversy behind it was you are erasing these characters' histories.
Yes.
But then you got a single Peter Parker, and that's cool, isn't it?
I think they're back together in the comic book.
They are. It's all.
It took so many years.
It's whatever happened, and is it a good comic though? I think there's some touching moments in it because they share that last kind of night together, and they're reminiscing as their memories are being wiped or something.
I didn't like it.
Okay, maybe it
I
isn't
think it
good.
sucks.
Okay, you didn't think it was a touching homage?
Thought it sucked.
They're kissing and hugging.
Sucked.
I'm not against it. I don't care.
But the comic book industry generally seems to be massively against happy marriages. Have you noticed?
Yeah. Well, so is society, if you know what I mean.
Ah,
Mason.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. 1 in 3 or whatever it is. I don't
That's
know.
right.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So there you go.
A few more people who should be divorced.
Oh,
Am
you
I
know
right?
what, mate? Oh, my
Jurassic Star.
goodness. You've heard some things.
Yeah, that's right.
So, do you want to talk about then, which is called one of the worst Spider-Man stories ever, whether or not this is true? Probably. It's called Sins Past.
Oh,
Do you know what this is?
okay. So that story, no,
This is fun for me. I enjoy this.
right? So that storyline basically was that it was revealed that in the past, Gwen Stacy, who was Peter Parker's girlfriend before Mary Jane,
Before he killed her.
who was supposed to be, just an amazing young woman, turned out to have had an affair with Norman Osborn, the original Green Goblin.
She at school at the time?
Yeah, maybe, probably. Who then killed her later.
Well, he killed. Oh, Spider-Man didn't catch her properly, did he?
Well, maybe. Look, we can all apportion the blame. Let's give it to Gwen Stacy because she's
Agreed.
dead and she can't defend herself. And she's not real.
Yes.
And basically, they had an affair which resulted in Gwen Stacy giving birth to like evil Green Goblin children.
Genetically altered. They
Yeah.
grew really fast or something.
Yeah. And then I guess she just returned to Peter Parker being like, what a weekend I've had.
Man,
anyway.
you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, right?
So,
And sort of besmirched the memory of that character.
Yeah.
People didn't like it. I didn't like it.
No, I just think... I think it's interesting that you go back and you give depth to a somewhat nothing character.
Okay.
Because that Gwen Stacy was defined by the fact that Spider-Man he didn't kill. It was...
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah. So, but it shouldn't have been this, is what
Well,
I'm
yeah,
going to
you
say.
could do it
Yeah.
in a, you could
do
a different
version.
story in which she's has a cool backstory that's fun.
She rides a motorbike.
Right, exactly. She's like, well, time to walk home, Peter Parker. I'll see you later. And then she gets the motorcycle out of the bushes. And then she's a motorcycle daredevil.
God.
That'd be
But
fun.
I think now, even though she's from a different dimension or whatever,
Oh, Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen is now what people know her for, I would say, more
Yeah,
than
for sure.
the fact that she's dead. Mm-hmm. Because whenever
Spider-Man killed her.
And Spider-Man killed her. Because whenever she rolls back in, there was always like, but you're dead. But then she'd be a robot or a clone or a ghost or whatever they used to do.
Yeah.
But now she's like back properly and a real character and a cool costume. Hood.
Good stuff.
Great stuff. Do you want to talk about Green Lantern's girlfriend got stuffed in the fridge?
Oh, boy. Is this still fun for you?
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, so...
Kyle Rayner.
Kyle Rayner. So what happened was in the 90s, this is post-death of Superman.
Yeah.
So in the Death of Superman storyline, Coast City is destroyed, which is Hal Jordan's home city. It's the city he protects.
Yep.
Hal Jordan, the Green Lantern. And so he goes mad, as you might imagine, because everybody he knows is dead.
Yep.
And he turns evil, and he kills a bunch of Green Lanterns, and he goes out into space and he destroys the Green Lantern power battery and what have you. And then the last remaining Green Lantern ring is given to just a rando, Kyle Rayner.
Yep.
He's, and we see a little bit of his suburban life. He has a girlfriend named Alex, and he's just
good times.
2 issues in, the bad guys realize there's a new guy with the Green Lantern ring, and they're like, let's get him. And so they go to his house. Well, they send
And by him, they mean
the girl. Yeah, so they go. They send like an enforcer to their house, and who kills her and stuffs her in a fridge, basically.
Yep.
And not even just as a distraction, like a momentary distraction between issues,
Yes.
basically. Yeah.
And it's coined the term fridging.
Yeah. So Gail Simone, who we mentioned earlier,
Yes.
she coined that, and I think she mentioned that, and people were like, "Come on, there's no that this no like," and it became an example of you create a character solely
For the heartbreak of...
to kill them so that the hero has a
Someone to cry about.
it's someone to cry about and a
Motivation.
and a motivation to become a better hero or whatever. And people are like, come on, it's not as common as you'd think. And then she came up with 90 examples of it happens all the time. So yeah, it's a real cheap device.
So now when people use it, there is that kind of can you do something better than this?
Yeah, right.
Which I think is good.
Yeah.
So I think ultimately that ended up being a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, narratively, I guess there's nothing wrong with. I mean, there probably is. There's easy ways, but if you kill a beloved character as motivation or in an important.
Yeah, there's ways to do it.
There's ways to do it, but it's if Lois Lane is killed or Tony Stark is killed. Which would encourage people to be more heroic.
More Iron Mans.
More Iron Mans. That's, because we've had enough time with those characters.
Yeah,
We've
not just
actually, we have
issues.
a personal bond with those characters, not just 2 issues of hey, I'm off to do some crime fighting. I'll see you later.
How did Green Lantern, the original guy,
Yes.
not the original, you know what I mean?
Hal Jordan.
How did he come back from being evil?
Oh, it turned out he wasn't really evil. It was a space bug. I knew it. right.
His ear? To go in his ear?
It might have gone in his ear, yeah. But so when he became evil, he took the name Parallax. So he took all the Green Lantern. He took all the Green
Is that
Lantern.
the first Parallax?
Yes.
Really?
So he took all the Green
Big
Lantern.
face.
Oh, in the movie.
In the movie, it's a...
Okay, so right, yeah, okay. So this is pre the movie.
Yes.
Basically, he turned into... He had all the Green Lantern energy, so he's sort of omnipotent. And then he was like, I'm going off to space, and then he wanted to eventually use his powers to bring Coast City back. But then it turned out, all the ends justify the means, and he was too evil and blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
And, it was kind of... I think it was initially meant to be, okay, well, we're done with Hal Jordan, and we want the new guy to be the new... But people really didn't like Kyle Rayner initially, and I think they were like, well, people like Hal Jordan, let's bring Hal Jordan back. So what can we do? Let's say he wasn't evil and he wasn't driven mad. It was a space bug, or Parallax, which is yellow. It's a yellow space bug. That's why Green Lantern rings don't work
like
against
yellow.
Yeah, because
Parallax. Didn't that work prior? Was that a thing prior to that though?
Yes, it was, but they retconned it.
Yeah, great. Cool. This is all good.
It's good stuff, right? It's comic books.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I think I've got one more here.
I'm ready to hear about it.
The death of Jason Todd.
Yeah.
I think I remember when we talked about in this past that I thought they were going to kill him anyway. Like they were just going to do it regardless.
Oh yeah.
But apparently the
method,
the vote. So you'd write in. And
you'd call in.
And they got like 10,500 votes, and it was a 72 vote margin for death of.
Right.
And
so for people who don't know, Jason Todd was the second Robin. So Dick Grayson
he stole the wheels off the Batmobile.
Yeah, Dick Grayson was the one, the original classic Robin. He's the one in the TV series. He's Chris O'Donnell, obviously in the Batman movies.
You all know that though. You know Chris O'Donnell.
And then he moved on, and then he was replaced by Jason Todd, who was less of a goody two shoes and kind of like a more rebellious,
more of a goody poo shoes.
Thank you. And people didn't like him as much.
Because he was different.
But not even that different, to be honest.
No.
Like his origin originally was exactly the same. He was a circus acrobat whose parents were killed.
Wow, how did they come up with that?
I don't know, but then they when Crisis on Infinite Earths happened, which we mentioned earlier.
Yes,
they changed his origin, so he was like a street
cool kid.
Yeah, and so because people didn't like him, they were like, well, we'll make this story called A Death in the Family, in which at the end. There'll be a sort of a cliffhanger. Does he live or does he die? Call this number to determine whether he will live or die or not. But of course, Jason Todd didn't stay dead because nobody does.
But that also
he stayed dead for a really long time.
He did
more than most people.
Yeah,
do.
That's true. Up until Red Hood.
Yeah.
Which is a good story. So I think again, I don't have a problem with killing Jason Todd. I just think it was a controversial thing at the time. Mm-hmm. But I think the Red Hood story that spun off with it, and then that character and how it's informed, I think the animated movie is like maybe my favorite animated movie, and is of course in the Arkham Knight game.
That's true. Also, it might have been that point also when they were kind of phasing out, like it was the point where they're like, well, Batman should be a loner. Yeah, and he's more kind of like, because remember in the movie he's a loner, in the 89 he's a loner. So we got to, and Robin's too colourful and blah, blah, blah. So they, they turfed him. Blew him up.
And good, probably. Or bad.
Yeah.
Whatever you think. Mm-hmm. Do you think Batman has too many Bat families?
I like his Bat families.
But every now and then he's like, it's just me. I don't want any help from anybody. Yeah. But then there's like 80 people be like, what are you paying us for then?
You're paying us a lot of money.
Yeah. There's obviously more.
Oh my God,
but that's my list that I've got.
You've got a good list.
Thank you. If you've got any, tweet at us.
Tweet at us your favourite controversial comic book decision. We want it.
I want it specifically.
Okay, James wants it.
Yeah. Thanks everybody for watching and listening to that. If you did, if you're here, if you're hearing this, you did, and you're here, and that's great. The podcast, Weekly Planet's linked below. Every Monday we do like a topic and like in the news of the week, or there's a bunch of stuff going on. It's a real podcast. It's a real audio recording that you can listen to. It also has a YouTube channel. Goodbye. Oh, and thanks.